Hello everybody and welcome to your Bellona solo guide. So we're not going to go the kind of traditional death toll build. I feel like most people know about that kind of standard. You go a death toll on Bellona, you become kind of sustainy, you go the full attack speed style. We're still going to have some attack speed in this build, but we're going to go a slightly different build, which is going to involve the Bluestone. I happen to think that Redstone Bellona has more carrying potential than the death toll does. We're also going to be grabbing ourselves a teleport here, and we are going to start working our way into that Berserker Shield. That Berserker Shield going to give us a little bit of attack speed in the early game for our hammer, which is going to be the ability that we get at level 1, which is going to help us smash with that hammer. Just like you can smash that subscribe button, helps support the Twitchiest community, and also make sure that you ring that bell for notifications so you never miss a video. Right now we're uploading 2 videos a day, so we got stuff popping up all the time in the morning and in the afternoon. So we're gonna be solo lane on Bellona. Traditionally going to be a solo laner. Every once in a while you'll see like a meta where she pops up in the jungle, a golden blade style build. But solo lane is definitely her better role. One of the best, if not the best, lane clears as a solo laner because of this hammer giving those AoE autos. You basically just hammer the wave, and then you can walk at the creeps, and you're gonna get pressure right off the bat every single time. And because you can get pressure in the solo lane so easily, it does mean you're going to be able to rotate off into the enemy jungle, go steal some farm, and maybe do some early game rotations, all of that good stuff. Not to mention you will have full-blown totem control as well. Chalk, another god that has good lane clear, but he simply can't compete with Bellona at this stage of the game until his 1 and his 2 start to full clear the archers. So until then, my team will have the benefit of nice, tasty MP5s from their little totem buff. So on Bellona, our level order over in solo is going to be pretty simple. We're going to be leveling up our ultimate whenever we can. You get a lot of stat bonuses off of this ability. You're not going to get the cooldown reduction. You're not going to get the cooldown reduction on Bellona ult. To be fair, you don't want Bellonas to have cooldown reduction on that ult. Believe me, it's already solo cooldown, but you are going to get a ton of value out of it. We are going to be ranking up our hammer to max first. You don't always have to max rank the hammer, especially if you're against a lot of auto attackers. Ranking up the whip first is viable. Maybe it's a hunter solo and a Mercury jungle. Leveling up the whip in order to increase the disarm duration is viable. But in this particular game, it's a Chalk and a Surtcat. They've got the Cupid as their auto attacker, and he's kind of a buildy boy anyway. So we're going to be leveling up in the order this game. 4, 2, 3, 1. Still going to level up that whip before our shield to max because it is going to reduce that cooldown, give us some extra healing, the extra disarm, all that good stuff. The one only going to give you a little bit of extra damage, which is basically negligible. The more important part from the one is going to be the increase in that slow, but we're going to have a lot of utility in our kit in order to make up for that. So that's why I prefer Bellona 4, 2, 3, 1. Or like I said, if they have a lot of auto attackers, you can do 4, 3, 2, 1. Leveling up the hammer is just going to make your life a little bit easier right now in terms of the lane clear, but it also provides really good poke. Reminder that Bellona hammer does get a little bit of that extra damage if you grab some gods in the swingy swing. You'll do a little bit of extra damage on your slam down, so do keep that in mind. My goal on this first back is to get enough gold for a Berserker shield. increase my attack speed while in this hammer form for even better clear. And to also get a chalice of healing. So I'm going to try to wait until I can get both of those in one back. As far as Bellona as where she falls in the meta and where she falls in terms of what stages of the game that she is good at, Bellona has been meta for a long time. She is still a meta god. She will continue to be a meta god until she releases some sort of significant nerfs. You may not see her every game, but one of the things that makes Bellona so good is that she's always a good pick. There's no situations where you're like, oh, this is going to hard counter my Bellona. Her biggest issue really is like if a team goes really heavy into magic damage, and so they've got less auto attacking and they're just going more like straight ability damage. That can provide a little bit of a problem for her because she's so good at like the disarming against those physical characters.
You don't need luck.
But even then, you just embrace a more magical defense build and you're totally gonna be fine. She is very, very early game focused. Her ability to full clear these waves makes her a menace to society, even if the creeps just run on by you like they don't care. So over in the solo lane, she loses very few matchups. A lot of pressure that she provides on the lane, and because of that, she also provides on the map. And then transitions quite well into the later stages of the game. She does have the ability to kind of 1v1 the enemy backline, particularly the hunters. She can run at them and cause a bunch of mayhem. So she does not fall off super hard or anything as you get into the later stages of the game. But definitely thrives more throughout the mid game, throughout the early game. Now, if that is Circuit over on me, that's okay. I'm still going to keep the pressure up on this. I'm going to get a double. Ooh, that was actually a really good taunt right there from the Circuit. I'm going to give him the old up down right here. I have got my friend on the way, that Wukong, and it looks like we're going to be able to grab ourselves a little 2-for-1 deal here at Costco. The benefit of having that chalice proccing on me for the extra heals, plus I've got the Berserker Shield giving me that physical defense as well as the HP 5, means that I can just kind of stay there, not have to worry about dying. And I didn't even get my big hammer slam off because Sircat made a very good taunt on me, and even without that, still all fine and dandy. For my second item though, this is where we're gonna start embracing a little bit more going into the Bluestone. I'm gonna go work on a Gladiator shield. The Gladiator shield procs on Bellona, plus the Bluestone when we transform it into Redstone late game. Because it gives you attack speed, because you're doing the bleed damage, I'm telling you, this combination is secretly one of the nastiest things, especially if you want to be like single-handedly carrying over from the solo lane. If you don't just want to be a frontliner that's annoying, but you want to be a frontliner that can kill the enemy team, this is a great way to do both at the same time. A little bit more on those matchups on Bellona. In the laning phase, we kind of talked about it. The only thing that she has to worry about in the laning phase is consistently being interrupted out of her hammer. So if there's a god that has a low cooldown CC ability that can interrupt you out of it, maybe you're going against an RDO who is constantly bear form, stunning you, something like that. That can be annoying, but you still get to transform into the hammer autos, which means you still have good lane clear. So it's honestly not that big of a deal. On the flip side of that argument, if there's a god with really good clear through like a channel ability, say Guan Yu and his Tallow Assault, well, you don't have a way to interrupt that, so it can be a little bit annoying as Bellona to have to just sit there and be Tallow Assaulted because you don't have anything that can actually interrupt that Tallow Assault. But regardless, you're probably going to be winning the clear anyway, so it's not that big of a deal in the laning phase. As far as the rest of the team in general, you're going to provide a lot of frontline for your team, and you provide a good amount of CC. So you don't need setup on Bellona because you are the god that's going to be setting up for your team. But you would prefer, like we said earlier, to go against a heavier physical damage team, heavier auto attack based team, even without necessarily needing to counter them with items like spectral armor, height of the Nemean, etc. You have all that kind of stuff basically built into your kit because you've got a disarm on your whip and you've got block stacks on your one. If you are going to be fighting an ADC, you want to end up in the last stage with your shield. What I mean by that is if you start off the fight against a hunter or an auto attack based assassin, arachne, etc., you want to start off the fight with your whip or your hammer, get that damage off quickly, and then switch to your shield and primarily take the fight within your shield. I'm gonna ulti probably over a little chockle here. That way it stuns him right when he comes down, and then we're gonna be able to finish him off. Make sure that I don't get hit by that silence, and then we're gonna be able to kill him on the way down. The reason why you want to do that is because you're gonna get the value out of those block stacks for the entire duration of the fight. A lot of times you'll see people initiate with the shield ability and then switch off to go for the disarm or something. And like, yeah, the sustain from whip is nice, but particularly as you get into the later stages of the game, getting that random block stack every couple of seconds, way more important than any life steal that you're getting from your whip. So make sure if you're fighting the auto attackers, you're in that shield stance. Bellona becomes really oppressive, really fast when she's fighting you majoritively in that stance. Doesn't mean not to use your other abilities. It just means when all of your abilities are on cooldown, that's kind of the one that you want to be in. We need to back up here so we can go get that Glad shield, as well as ranking up our teleport a little bit. And we can get ourselves a beads as our second active. And we're also going to get ourselves the heroic teleport. Heroic teleport and persistent teleport going to come down a little bit to play style. Persistent teleport going to allow you to teleport more persistently. Heroic teleport going to be stronger for that one-time teleport that you teleport into the Gold Fury, into the Fire Giant, because it gives you that buff on yourself and really lets you wreak havoc in the fight. I like the heroic because it's a little bit more fun to use, honestly. But both of the teleports are good. Really comes more down to play style than anything. Persistent, probably a little bit more consistent. But heroic makes those big, like, wow, pizzazz plays. Gonna run up here and proxy farm behind the tier 1 tower. Now that I've got the physical defense from the Berserkers and the Gladiator shield, a little bit more comfortable for me to just walk by here, quickly farm this, plus his blue was spawning, and that means I can be ready to try and steal this from him as well. If he tries to defend his blue, he missed out on the wave. If he goes to the wave, he missed out on the blue. Puts him in a hard spot. Gonna go for a big hammer slam down on the blue buff. Ooh, he's barely gonna get that actually from his axe right there. Surcat running at me, not a fear in the world. She actually uses all of her movement, so I'm gonna give him the big hammer jammer right here, and he's gonna go down very quickly in this fight. He cannot mess with me at all. Way too many physical defenses on me right now. Way too much HP 5 for him to even get close to me. Now, Chalk does have his ulti up, so I can't actually full tower dive him as much as I would like to, and I'm gonna head back towards my blue buff. Make sure I'm getting some more farm. So what is your goal on a solo laner in Smite / a warrior? Right now, solo laners, mostly warriors. Those are basically crossed over. Every once in a while, you'll see a warrior in the jungle or a guardian over in solo. Not entirely out of the question, like Osiris Erlang over in the jungle. You'll see Ardios, Cthulhu's, Jorns in solo. But warriors right now, synonymous with that solo lane, and your job on them is mostly going to be similar. Your job as a solo laner is to win as hard as you can in the early game over in solo, build up all of that fake solo lane damage, am I right? But what you're actually going to try to do is it's all about rotating to those team fights, knowing when to rotate to those team fights, and then eventually being the menace for the backline. So you're going to be not peeling. Your job isn't to keep your ADC and your mage alive. That is your support's job. Your job is going to be diving into their mage, diving into their hunter, their assassin, and keeping them off of your squishies by trying to kill them. Bellona gonna have a much easier job killing them than some of the other gods. Somebody like a Wukong, depending on your build, his job might be to distract their backline for as long as you can, so that way your team can kill their front line before you die. Bellona, a little bit more in the department of, I'm just gonna go ahead and kill their backline so we don't even have to worry about it. This time I will time my hammer a little bit more appropriately. Gonna once again ulti over his little ult, and we'll be able to grab ourselves another kill. You can see there, pretty easy, consistent combo for Bellona. Just go ahead and ulti right over that chocolate, and now I'm gonna go ahead and back up. As far as their magic damage, they've got a Tiamat and a Fafnir, so I'm not super concerned about the amount of magical damage they are going to output. So I'm just gonna grab myself a Pridven here. I do have HP from my Gladiator shield. Outside of the Gladiator shield, this is a fairly low HP build, but the Pridven proc off of the Bellona ult is going to give us a little bit more CC to combine with our 1. As we mentioned earlier, we were going to have a little bit of help with that with this Pridven. It's going to give us more cooldowns, which is going to matter for the late game. Whenever you have a Bluestone pendant, you basically want max CDR, because you want to be able to spam your abilities as fast as possible, especially with us going into a Redstone, because we're going to be over capping in our protections with those Redstone percentage procs. Reminder that in Smite, you can't build protections over the cap when it's a flat value, but when an item gives you percentage, so if you look at Bluestone, you get a percentage increase in protections. Percentage increases in protections in Smite overcap your physical magical protections total. So you can actually get even more, which is crazy. And of course, because they've got so much physical damage, their magical damage is limited to a Tiamat, whose damage really doesn't come on until the ultra late stages of the game. It also means that I get to focus more on this physical defense for now. So the Surcat and Chalk able to do even less against me than they were earlier, honestly, at this stage of the game. Plus, I've got myself a nice XP lead. Now, at this stage of the game, right around the 15-minute marker, that is when Smite starts to become team fight o'clocks, and you will start to see a lot of rotations take place. This is when you really need to be keeping your eye on the map so that you can teleport over to a team fight, most likely in the mid lane or at the Gold Fury, or clear the wave as fast as you can and then start to rotate over. Now I've got a Fafnir bothering me over here in the solo lane. That is totally fine for now. I have to be slightly concerned if there's somebody else rotating over, but as long as it's just the Fafnir, I'm keeping 2 people over here for the price of 1, which should hopefully help out the rest of my team and everyone else. Now for my next item, I am going to need some magical defenses, so I'm going to start working on a Shogun's. Going to give me a little bit of attack speed. I'm going to teleport actually over into their jungle as well as buy a sentry ward to put out. This way I can help with this mid lane dive. I'm going to call for the attack on this. I've got that bonus movement speed coming out from that heroic teleport, which also means that I cannot be slowed. So I'm going to be able to grab a quick kill onto this Tiamat as well as start tanking this tower for my team. Looks like me and the sub-back are just going to run right through on that. And I'm going to start heading over towards the Cupid. Benefit of that heroic teleport is that you get that 10 seconds to just W key your brains out. Helps me grab that kill onto that Tiamat in the mid lane. Now I'm rotating all the way over for the Cupid. Going to hit him with a quick little dash whip combo. Then I can call for the attack Gold Fury. I've got the Sentry Ward ready for it. And I can now proceed with the objectives now. Shogun's going to be a little bit of a 2-for-1 deal for us on Bellona, because not only are we going to get some more attack speed, which is always nice on Bellona, especially as you get later into the game because of the way that your block stacks work on your one, but also Shoguns is gonna give us that last 10% CDR, giving us 40% cooldown, even when we don't have the blue buff, so we don't have to worry about having the blue buff, whether your blue buffs are getting stolen all game, or whether the fight's breaking out
I need to recharge
on the
my
other side of the map, etc. You may not have it, but we do want to have that 40% CDR. Not to mention, gives out that attack speed for the rest of the team. Most supports don't really pick up a Genji, or don't really pick up a Shoguns, which means that your hunter, potentially your jungler, potentially your mid laner, will be thanking you for giving them some extra attack. Next up on our list is making sure that we finish the redstone, and that is when this build gets really gross. So if we look at our protections right now, you can see that we've got 221 physical protections. Heck yeah, plus we've still got 141 magical protections as long as we've got our passive up, because remember, Bellona gets protections from her passive. Plus, she also gets movement speed from that as well. So we're going to be stacking these protections that we get from our passive. We're stacking it with all of our items, and then we're going to be stacking it with the percentage that we get from that redstone. And instead of just embracing a full kind of damage build or a full defense build, this build is going to be hybrid and yet still overcapping our protections at the same time. Truly a ridiculous combination of items on the lane. So right now I'm W king toward their Tiamat. We talked about it earlier. It is my job to make sure the backline is getting zoned out from the fight. I am zoning out appropriately, so I'm going to come back and help out with this chalk. As long as the Tia isn't hitting my teammates, then we are all good on my end. Gonna kind of dash in toward this Tia. This is a little bit greedy for me. Felt like I was going to be able to get that kill, but they actually did have Aegis up, which means I wasn't quite able to get that. But I should be able to get away from this regardless. Fafnir trying to hit me with one last hammer, not going to be enough. Gonna go over here, grab this massive wave over in the solo lane. I can see that on the map. I want to make sure I don't miss out on any of these creepies. Chalk is here. He might be able to kill me, but if I play this right, I should be all right. I'm gonna use that sustain from my whip. Try to dash away. Gotta be a little careful here. He knows that I've got my ulti up, so I'm trying to wait as long as I can on using it. Doesn't look like I've got anybody from my team coming over, so the circuit's probably going to be able to put me down. There'll be a little bit to the side away from the chalk, but I'm not going to be able to get away from that one circuit rotated over before we could. But that does give me an opportunity to buy that corrupted bluestone. And then our last item in this build, gonna be almost entirely flex with just this build without any of the passives going. You can see that we're gonna be right about the point where our physical protections are gonna be overcapping once we factor in the redstone and we factor in the Bellona passive. So if I feel like we need more magical defense, we can get that. Honestly, I'm still taking mostly physical damage, which probably means that I'm gonna get another physical defense or physical defensive-based item. But at this point, that last item's entirely flex. It can be a spirit robe to try to give you some percent mitigations if you want to get real thick. You overcap on CDR, but who cares? Everything is Smite gives CDR nowadays. You can get a Mantle of Discord, so you have the CC immunity if you're going against a high CC team. You can go something straight damagey and annoying, which is what I'm going to do this game. I'm going to get myself a Frostbound Hammer. I honestly don't think I need any more protections, so I'm going to get a Frostbound Hammer to provide even more annoyingness to their Tiamat, to their Cupid in the backline. I'm going to be plenty thick without any more defenses. And this is just going to give me an even greater chance of chasing him down and getting those kills. Plus, it's going to give me a little bit more HP, and the build is a little low in HP, so it is nice to get just a little bit of extra pizzazz there from the last item. You can see with this redstone, the amount of damage that we have coming out is a little ridiculous, considering that I am in fact the frontliner. That bonus damage that you get from that Redstone Glad Shield combo, while also making you tankier on Bellona, is pretty gross. And she's got 4 damaging abilities, which can, of course, proc it super easily. And it's not like Bellona abilities are hard to hit. They're all pretty straightforward. Maybe in the heat of the moment, you miss like a hammer or something, but probably not the spinny to winny part. Probably just the slammy jammy, but at that point, you don't even need the slammy jammy. So I'm gonna ulti right back on Cubit. Just gonna start W keying at him, give him a little slam jam. He's gonna go right down in the back. Now I'm just on the Tiamat, switching over to my melee form, trying to get some block sacks out. Another slam jam down onto the chuck, and we're gonna get ourselves a Phoenix over in left. Throw a little bleed over the wall, grab ourselves another quick pop right there. Now we should be able to grab this mid Phoenix, no problem. After this mid Phoenix, we should just back up and go attack right lane. I'm gonna back up entirely and then teleport back in over there after I get my Frostbound Hammer and another Sentry Ward to help out the team. Teleporting right back into that ward that I had put down. Give him a slap for good luck. Throw down a defensive ward over here. And now we can keep them zoned out for the team to come back for the next Phoenix push. Still got that top damage at the 25-minute marker, baby. It's hard to lose top damage, honestly, with this build, unless somebody in your team is really going for it. Gotta keep this wave push up over and right. That way the team can just come over and do this right Phoenix whenever they want. Looks like they're gonna go grab the Onis, that's fine. Gotta be careful I don't get 5-man rotated on. Like, don't want to get too greedy off of that. But at the same time, if like Circuit's gonna push up like this is a kill opportunity if she's not careful. She used a couple of jumps. I'm gonna yeet over the wall, try to smack him down with the hammer. Jumps right into it, bada bing, bada boom. Switching over my block stacks right now. Gonna try to W key myself away from this one. Wukong shows up, Cupid gets wrecked from all the bleeds. And even though I was a little bit alone and out of position, the burst damage is just simply too much from this build, and we should honestly be able to attack the Titan and just kind of put this one away. Got a W key at this Tiamat. She's hit by the Frostbound. She is hit by the slow on the one. Absolutely nothing for her to do, and we should be able to go ahead and wrap this one up. So if you want a little bit of spice in your life as Bellona, don't be afraid to grab that Bluestone leading into the Redstone. It's a little bit more of a hybrid ability / auto attack build, which is more fun, in my opinion, than just doing the traditional kind of full auto attack sustaining Bellona build with Death Toll. And I also think that it provides more damage for your team, and more damage in Smite is always more better. If you like the content, guys, please make sure you subscribe to the channel to help support the Twitchiest community, and make sure you hit that bell for notifications so you never miss a video. And of course, liking and commenting on as many videos as you can always does help with the YouTube algorithm, gods, so I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support, and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.